Pastor Julian here with Central's devotion for today. I hope you're doing well. Well, this past Sunday was Easter Sunday, Resurrection Day, and I hope that you had a wonderful celebration, maybe even gotten to connect with some of our church services in person or virtually, and those are still available to you right now on Central Schwenkfelder's Facebook page and our YouTube page. And also all of the events and some of the other services that took place during Easter week, including the Tenebrae service last Thursday, which was a wonderful, wonderful service. So Dr. Drake got us started yesterday with looking at some of the aftermath of the empty tomb, some of the things that transpired following that. And he mentioned yesterday Jesus eating the broiled fish, demonstrating that he indeed wasn't just spirit, but he was also body. Special body, but body. I want to read to you from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 28, verse 11 to 17. This is what it says. Just to set some of the background for you here, this is regarding the guards who were posted to Jesus' tomb and the supernatural occurrence that they witnessed and the disappearance of Jesus' body. Verse 11. While they were going, behold, some of the guard went into the city and told the chief priests all that had taken place. And when they had assembled with the elders and taken counsel, they gave a sufficient sum of money to the soldiers and said, "Tell people his disciples came by night and stole him away while we were asleep. And if this comes to the governor's ears, we will satisfy him and keep you out of trouble." So they took the money and did as they were directed. And this story has been spread among the Jews to this day. Now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. So here we see in this passage, instead of the chief priests saying, tell the truth. Tell the truth of what you encountered to the soldiers. Tell the truth to whoever asked you. Share what you think happened. That's not what transpired. Instead, the chief priests, they wanted to control the narrative. They wanted to control the narrative and put their own story out there that fit what they wanted and what they desired, even though it was a lie. Even though it was a lie. Jesus is truth. God is truth. God is light. Satan is a liar and the father of lies. And here we have a lie. Tell the people his disciples came by night and stole him away while you were asleep. We know where that lie comes from. We know where that lie comes from. It comes from the devil, wanting to convince people that Jesus had not defeated death and risen from the grave, so that he could lead people astray from Jesus instead of to Jesus. The resurrection leads people to Jesus. But this lie that he is just dead and that there's a conspiracy of stealing him away, that would lead people away. It's not unlike a lot of the mistruths and lies and people wanting to control the narrative politically and socially in our country that draws people away from God's narrative that we find in Scripture, draws them away from God's commands and his morality that we find in Scripture, draws them away from that into the worldly, that the world's narrative is true, and what's in Scripture isn't. And therefore, you don't need to live by it. But see, that this whole controlling the narrative and conspiracy is all taking place here. But then we move to the disciples who went to Galilee, because Jesus said, tell the disciples to meet me in Galilee. Now, so that you understand, in other accounts of the resurrection, Jesus has already appeared to the disciples. We know that from these other accounts in Jerusalem on several occasions. And so this isn't the first time the 11 disciples are going to meet with Jesus. But here we see that when Jesus asked them to meet him in Galilee, now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain which Jesus had directed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Now, there's a couple of different schools of thought regarding this. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. So there's some schools of thought regarding this, but some doubted that is talking about the 11 disciples. Obviously, Judas is not with them. Judas is gone. Judas hanged himself. But some refer to maybe it was a couple of the 11 disciples that doubted. All of the 11 disciples doubted in some sort of fashion. And then there's another school of thought that it wasn't any of the 11 disciples, that there were others that were gathered at the mountain. You know, the 11 were close to Jesus, with Jesus, but then since this is the first of Jesus is in the Galilee region where he did a lot of his ministry, that there are other brothers and maybe even some sisters gathered there. And this is referring to them doubting. Regardless, this conspiracy story put out there is put out there to put doubt into people's minds. And I would think that some who were in Galilee maybe have doubted. And there's a lot going on in these days. There's a lot going on in a short span of time with regards to Jesus dying, having the Sabbath, Jesus rising from the dead, and then appearing to people and hearing word of the resurrection come out. But also Jesus in his resurrected body he is not identical to the way that he was physically before the resurrection. We already know that he has holes in his hands and in his side, but we don't know what else looks different with his new body. And so we know that maybe your new body looks different, and I'm hoping that my resurrected body has a six-pack and some pretty defined arms and maybe even a handsomer face. You never know. That's what I'm hoping for. But here they wanted to create, these chief priests wanted to create doubt, and there is some doubt that has crept in it for whatever reason that's here. And we know that the disciples aren't going out there and preaching and sacrificing themselves with this major doubt in their mind. That's not happening. If you have doubt, you are not going to be tortured to death. I'll tell you that right now. They fully believe in Jesus and they are fully worshiping Jesus. But some doubted. And let me encourage you that there are forces out there that want to make you doubt. Okay? And then there are just natural, curious things, questions that make you doubt. In all that, with all the doubt, with all the clouds that you live within or surrounding you in life, always seek Jesus. Always seek Jesus, and he will give you the answers, and he will give you clarity. He will open up your eyes and your heart and let you know that He is real and that He is alive. God bless you and have a great day.